There was a big, busy city in Nigeria where people worked hard and lived happily. In the middle of this city was a big hospital where everyone went whenever they are sick. The doctors and nurses there were known for being very good at their jobs. Mothers brought their children there when they had a fever, and old people came for checkups. Everyone trusted the hospital because they believed it was a safe place. In this same city, there was a strong army general. He had many soldiers who respected him. One day, his wife became very sick. So the army general took her to the hospital. Take good care of her, he told the doctors. I have to travel far for work, but I trust you. The nurses were kind and the doctors promised to take good care of her while she stayed in the hospital. In the hospital, there was a nurse named Nurse Kemi. She looked friendly, but she had a big bad secret. Nurse Kemi would wait until women were unconscious, unable to wake up, and then she would do something very wrong. No one knew what Nurse Kemi was up to because she was very sneaky. She would smile and act like everything was normal, but she had a terrible plan in her mind. One by one, women who had been in the hospital started to notice something strange. They were pregnant. The surprising thing was that many of these women hadn't seen their husband for a long time. How could this be? They were shocked, and so were their families too. The doctors couldn't explain it. The hospital was supposed to be a safe place, but now strange things were happening. When the army general returned to the city, he found out that his wife was pregnant. He was surprised because he had been away for many months. How could this be? He asked the doctors. I haven't been with my wife for a long time. How did she become pregnant? The doctors didn't know what to say. They had never seen anything like this before. Soon, everyone in the city started talking. The women who had gone to the hospital were suddenly pregnant, and no one could explain why. Mothers whispered to each other, what if this happens to me? What if it happens to my daughter? The city was full of whispers and fear. People were scared to go to the hospital, but they also wanted to know who was behind these mysterious pregnancies. The doctors decided that they needed to find out what was going on. Dr. Musa, the head doctor, gathered all the staff and said, we have to solve this mystery. We must find out who or what is causing these women to become pregnant. The doctors and nurses searched for answers, but it seemed like the secret was too well hidden. Nurse Kemi started to feel nervous. She knew that if the doctors kept looking, they might find out what she was doing. She tried to act normal, but inside, her heart was beating fast. She was afraid of being caught because she knew the punishment would be terrible. The army general was angry. I will not rest until I find out who did this to my wife, he shouted. He called his soldiers and told them to help search for the answers. The soldiers went all over the city, asking questions and looking for clues. They wanted to find the person who had made this army general's wife pregnant. One night, a nurse who was working late saw something strange. She saw Nurse Kemi sneaking around in the dark. Nurse Kemi was acting suspicious, and the other nurse wondered what she was up to. Could this be a clue to solving the mystery? The nurse decided to keep an eye on Nurse Kemi. Dr. Musa and his team started to suspect that someone in the hospital might be behind the strange pregnancies. They looked at the records of all the nurses and doctors who had worked with the women. Slowly, they began to put the pieces together, but they still couldn't figure out who was responsible. One day, Nurse Kemi made a big mistake. She left something behind in one of the hospital rooms. It was something that could lead to her being cut. The question now was, who would find it and would they know what it meant? The general's wife started to remember strange things that had happened while she was in the hospital. She recalled seeing someone near her bed, but she was half awake. She didn't know who it was, but her memory could be the key to solving the mystery. The people of the city were tired of waiting. They demanded that the hospital find out what was happening. "We need to know who is doing this to our women," they shouted. The pressure on the hospital was growing and everyone wanted justice. Even though Dr. Musa, the general, and the people of the city were getting closer to the truth, Nurse Kemi's secret was still hidden. She was scared, but she hadn't been caught yet. The hospital was now under close watch. Soldiers stood outside the building, guiding the entrance. Inside, the doctors were doing everything they could to find answers. Even the nurses were being watched carefully. Everyone in the hospital was nervous and whispers filled the hallways. No one knew who to trust anymore. Nurse Kemi, still hiding her secret, acted like nothing was wrong, but deep inside, she was worried. One day, a young intern named Shade was cleaning the hospital storage room when she found something strange. It was a small box hidden behind some old files. Inside the box was something that didn't belong there, a syringe with an odd substance. Shade didn't know what it was, but she knew it was something important. She quickly ran to Dr. Musa. When Dr. Musa saw the syringe, his heart raced. He took it to the lab for testing. After some time, the results came back. It was a special medicine that could make people sleep very deeply. Dr. Musa began to suspect that this was the key to solving the mystery. But who had been using it? He decided to call a meeting with the nurses to ask if anyone knew about the syringe. Dr. Kemi heard about the meeting and started to panic. She knew that the syringe was hers, and if anyone connected it to her, she would be cut. That night, she sneaked back into the storage room to try to hide more evidence. But this time, someone was watching her. Shade, the young intern, had followed her and saw everything. Shade was shocked by what she saw. She knew that Nurse Kemi was behind the mysterious pregnancies, but she didn't know what to do. If she told Dr. Musa, Nurse Kemi might get angry and hurt her. But if she stayed silent, more women might be affected. Shade decided that she had to be brave and tell the truth no matter what happened. The next day, Shade went to Dr. Musa and told him everything she saw. Dr. Musa listened carefully and realized that they were finally close to solving the mystery. He called the army general and told him that they had found a big clue. The army general was eager to hear more and came to the hospital right away with his soldiers. With the general and his soldiers at the hospital, Dr. Musa confronted Nurse Kemi. At first, she tried to deny everything, but when they showed her the syringe and the evidence, she broke down in tears. Nurse Kemi confessed that she had been secretly using the medicine to put women into a deep sleep and then made them pregnant. She had been doing this for a very long time and no one had ever noticed until now. When the army general heard Nurse Kemi's confession, he was furious. His wife had been one of the victims and he couldn't believe that someone had done something so terrible in a place where people were supposed to be safe. He ordered that Nurse Kemi be taken away by his soldiers to face justice. The general promised that she would never hurt anyone again. The hospital staff was deeply ashamed of what happened. Dr. Musa stood in front of the people of the city and apologized. "We are sorry for not protecting the women who came for us for help. We promise to do everything we can to make sure that this never happened again," he said. The people of the city were still angry, but they knew that the hospital was trying to fix its mistakes. After Nurse Kemi was taken away, the city slowly began to calm down. The hospital made many changes to ensure that nothing like this ever happened again. New rules were put in place and extra guards were posted to watch over the patients. The women who had been affected by Nurse Kemi's action were given special care, and slowly, the city started to trust the hospital again. Shade, the young intern who had discovered Nurse Kemi's secret, was hailed as a hero. Dr. Musa praised her for her bravery, and the people of the city thanked her for helping to uncover the truth. Shade continued her work at the hospital, and she became a symbol of hope for everyone. People admired her for being brave enough to speak up, even when it was scary. The army general's wife, though hurt by what had happened, eventually found peace. She gave birth to a healthy baby, and the general promised to love and care for the child as his own. They moved forward with their lives, knowing that justice had been served and that the truth had come out. Even though the mystery of who got the general's wife had been solved, the lessons from the story stayed with the city. People learned to be more careful about who they trusted, and the hospital became even better at protecting its patients. The story of Nurse Kemi was told for many years, reminding everyone that bad things can happen even in trusted places, but good people can always make a difference. Life in the city slowly returned to normal. People went back to the hospital without fear, and the whispers of the mysterious pregnancies faded away. The hospital became stronger and better, and the people of the city learned to trust it again. But they never forgot what happened, and they always remembered to keep their eyes open for any signs of trouble. As time passed, the hospital became a place of healing and trust once more. The story of what happened stayed in the hearts of the people, but they moved forward with hope. The city became peaceful again, and everyone hoped that nothing like this would ever happen again. But deep down, they knew that secrets always have a way of coming out. The heroes like Shade would always be there to uncover the truths.